right, everybody. Welcome in to the South Park Phone Destroyer weekly update for week 20 of year 4, I believe. We have a lot of games to watch today. We're going to actually watch through all of them. We're going to shoutcast every single one of them. We're going to kind of go through the plays a little bit, discuss, since this was the first time that we played this deck, it wasn't a repeat, the first time in a while. We're going to go through a little bit of the strategy, what worked and what didn't work. Hold on one second. I got to... Sorry about that. Had to respond to Mex real quick. All right, so we have quite a few games. We don't have the weekly update from the developers because it's obviously like a bi-weekly. So we're going to spend a lot of time on the games this week, on the deck for next week, and then that'll be it. And we might, depending on the timing, we might roll back into more South Park and work on the Battle Pass on some other accounts, but we'll see how we're feeling at the end of the Battle Pass. And yeah, for this dead game. Welcome in, Black Star. Welcome in, everybody. Appreciate you guys being here. From how my games went, it was whoever kept their Mintberry Crunch alive won. That did seem like it was important. Managing the aim of the Mintberry Crunch, if you could do that on the fly, that was really important. If you could kind of try to prevent it from hitting, if you could try to prevent it hitting like your own Mintberry Crunch is probably the biggest part of it. So we're gonna start off with one of the bigger games, or one of the more intense games that we had this weekend. This was on Blue Bucket, so this would have been like my 10th, 11th, or 12th match of the night. I only lost one match of all of them. And in that match, my slave heal broke to Slave and Poseidon. It must have just been like a 1 in 100 chance. They both hit the exact same time or something. I don't know. But so he led with the led with the SWOW. You don't really want to lead with your tanks really typically. But once they lead with the tanks, it lets you kind of lead with the tank. But I like to lead with a fighter typically, because if you just give up that Super Craig, like Super Craig dies, no big deal. It's not the end of the world. A good lava here could actually be quite useful. We'll see what we decide to do. Yeah, we're going to get a lava right in the mix here. We got that level 5 slave, and we actually hit the Dougie with the Mintberry Crunch there. That Dougie blasting the slave on that top side. Our Mintberry Crunch, I could have waited a little bit and gotten his BHK potentially, but it looks like the damage is coming out. The hamsters don't care about that lava. Oh no, that's our lava. Never mind. Now Mintberry Crunch is going to take care of his Mintberry Crunch. Oh, he pulls us in, but our Dougie, because of that extra health, survives. Now we're in an interesting position because his Man-Bear Pig is barely alive, but we super fart to kill the Mintberry Crunch. Unfortunately, his imp is too big, and they don't really get knocked back because of how dumb the knockback mechanic is. So that, unfortunately, did not go well for us, but we have a bar. We didn't have to play the the Gunslinger here, so that was kind of a mistake. He's resetting with his SWOW. I mean, it's not a terrible play this week just to get your SWOW out as many times as you can. Using that Grand Wizard, though, that extra 100-some damage from New Kid was very useful. We're going to go ahead and just try to get our Mintberry Crunch out, but that extra 900 from the SWOW is actually going to be pretty difficult to deal with. We put our Poseidon out, and he does correctly pull in the SWOW. The Dougie comes out speed boosted, which is pretty good, but we kill him before he can put out too much damage. Now we get our slave out. I should have just played the Randy there. I thought the slave I'd have the energy, so that was a mistake on my part. If I would have just played the Randy, we would have had a decent push coming the other direction. We have a general disarray to put out on whatever he gets there, just because we need the disarray to be there. It's technically a bad play, but that regen keeps the Dougie alive long enough to take out that slave heal. So that wasn't a problem at all. And Dougie just doing work down there, getting healed by that regen and staying alive. Our slave full heal at his doorstep. Do we have the time? We don't use the ability. There it comes. The gunslinger. We use this to pull Imp away. No defense at the new kid. Well played. And we take it home in the last few seconds. Well done. Well done. Fuck that guy. Why no BHK? Because BHK dies to Midberry Crunch. That's why we didn't do Robin either. It's just, even if Robin gets his ability off, if he immediately dies to the new kid blast or to the Midberry Crunch blast, it's not really worth it when you could have a gunslinger that can, bust up an entire push, survive Midberry Crunch blast, and then get regened back to full health. Uncle Tito's a solid player. I always get a little nervous when I run into the Coon Death Squad boys, because they typically have decent levels. They don't always pick the best decks, but I actually kind of liked the Heidi pick this week. But Super Craig showed himself to be quite useful with that AoE helping out. So we have kind of a shitty push here, but all of his stuff is kind of dead. We don't want his Gunslinger to be able to do a bunch of damage to us. The freeze comes out right when I play my Midberry Crunch, so we don't get the extra health on the Super Craig, which is a little unfortunate. We're going to go ahead and play Randy here on the bottom side, and we stun them all. The Dougie gets turned away. The S-Wow. Incredible S-Wow play there. Very, very good. The lava not impacting us that much. Pulling away the Dougie. Well played, well played. Depending on what he puts. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. What? Definitely not the way you would use that. The only time you'd really use Future Randy if he was level 1 is if you play your Mintberry Crunch and then they play Imp Tweak, and then you play it and hope that your Imp stays alive. But at level 1, I don't think he's worth it. When the comparison is a level 3 S-Wow, I don't think it's really worth it. I got the super fart on him, boys. We got the super fart on him, boys. Can I get another super fart on him? Can I beat him and style on him with the super fart? No. All right. This match is just to show off how you can use Imp on defense in a way that people probably don't really think of. Or it's not really defense, I guess. It's more of an offensive play, but your defense is offensive. Poseidon slow, not bad. The reason I played the Gunslinger here was because I wanted the value of the Gunslinger on New Kid, but it ends up not hitting anybody because just the spacing here. But the regen does a great job to keep that Super Craig alive, and the Gunslinger gets kept alive as well, which is incredible. And if we can take out the Mintberry Crunch, yes, and the hamster survives. Oh, that was just a bunch of levels of fuck. All right, perfectly done. The Cox coming in with a plus 143. That New Kid bar will not survive long. Well played there. Well played. This poor guy. These 66 hundos. They don't know what hit them. So this is an example of what you can do with Imp Tweak. Blue. See how easy BHK dies? And he dies. So it might be hard for us to break through the slave, right? Nope. Nope. Not hard at all. Bingo bango. Pull the defender away, guys. It works great. All right, now we got Breaknin, which is a name I recognize, not a team I recognize. 8167, so we definitely played this guy before, I'm sure. Poseidon in the corner, I think, was probably the best start this week. I got to play it in my 15 games. I probably got to play it 9 of the games. So it was definitely probably the best start. Gunslinger corner, top, whatever is fine. Yeah, I like to not put it, because if you would have put it in the top there, in the top corner, then if he would have put Mintberry Crunch in the corner, he would have been able to hit both of us. So I was kind of, all my movement, all my placing, the whole time is just to limit the Mintberry Crunch. So I play the Mintberry Crunch here because if I get the ability off, then I hit the BHK, and BHK is dead, right? So boom, instantly steal 3 energy from him. Now it's his Mintberry Crunch versus my Mintberry Crunch. We have the regen, which might give us a benefit. Played the Super Craig there just to have a different target. And he uses it poorly there, actually. We used that. If I would have done it a little bit fast, but you see there, even though he got the boost, he got wiped. It didn't really mean much. The Hyperdrive comes out, but the regen, more useful than the Hyperdrive. I thought the Imp was actually a misplay right there. I thought his Mintberry Crunch was gonna stay alive longer, but the Imp is coming in, takes the new kid. Not terrible here. Can't get stopped by the Poseidon necessarily, so works out pretty well. This was also a bad lava. I didn't think we were gonna take the bar, but that Mintberry Crunch damage just always surprises me. Gonna go ahead and wait for the Mintberry Crunch. If he uses a card, we'll use the ability. Oh, and he misplays. He uses a card, and his new kid retargets to the slave instead of the Mintberry Crunch. We played like 2 misplays there, but he wasn't able to capitalize. All right, this week on the Adventure Lock was actually a whole lot of fun. Future Randy coming in with that level 1 Mintberry Crunch as well. Level 7 Heidi. Just kind of a blast. We got level 2 Future Randy, though. Excuse me. Level 3 Imp. We'll just see what happens. The BHK on the backside, basically worthless at level 5, or at level 2. But look at that. Pushing the dog, or pushing the... Oh, that's not going to work. But BHK is hitting Randy. So look at this. We get the lava out there too. Can our Dougie sit and bust up the slave? Oh, the BHK heals the Dougie. Dougie comes through. I think Dougie did break the slave heal, which is really important here. We're not going to be able to stop the hamsters, though. The hammies, very dangerous here. We're going to have to drop our level 3 slave. All right, he dealt with our Mintberry Crunch. We are in trouble here, but we do have the Gunslinger, which is a potentially fatal blow. Let's see if he can stop it. Waste 3 energy here. Absolute waste there. Let's see what he's got. Our BHK, sorry, our Gunslinger, different Kyle. Our Gunslinger will beat up that Imp. Now we have a decent amount of people. If we get the Gunslinger with the Hyperdrive, this could be incredible. Oh, we wait for it though, because it's gonna be a little bit delayed here. We did get a little bit of chip on New Kid though, which is great. I'm gonna go ahead and Imp on the Mintberry Crunch is gonna be perfect here. Go ahead and use that ability. Gunslinger stays alive long enough. Well done. The slave got like stuck though. I'm not really sure what happened there. We're putting the hamsters out just so that they have something to attack. The hamsters sneak through, take the damage. Gunslinger still alive. Get that level 1 Mintberry Crunch out there. Even though he's level 1, he's still going to do some pretty good damage when he's got plus 143 and a speed boost. Well done here. The Coop comes out, helps take some damage away from those hamsters. We take the hamsters out. We're getting some weird lag, but we're fighting through. He plays the Robin on nobody. We're going to freeze ray on the bottom side, hoping that the Heidi gets there on the top side. Yes, Heidi's going to be just fine. The level 6 Robin does not have enough damage to deal with that smart and funny, not KFC eating biatch. The Adventure Lock. We're continuing on. We didn't get any good Future Randy play there, but the enemy tried it. Didn't work out for him. Future Randy's one of those cards where it's almost better to always only push your cards back and don't push their cards, just to like that fully resets on your side, but kind of just depends on the situation. So it's important to know when to do that, because sometimes you can actually help them. Like right here, really good play here. Knock my guys out of there, out of the lava, and then kind of neutralizes the Dougie. So I thought that play was really good. Gets the damage on. We really should have had regen instead of freeze ray. Regen base level does very good job here. Like I could use regen right here, and this whole push would be reset basically. But it's not super impactful because the push is crazy either way. But freeze ray, I mean, kind of cool. Worked out pretty well for me. Not gonna lie. Could freeze ray right here, but all right, we're gonna take out one of the gnomes. Randy two-shotting the hamster. Takes forever to get a shot off though. Randy attacking New Kid. Not very much damage at a time. This is the situation where New Kid, or where the Adventure Lock can really get screwed up here because of the, the counter push, and I don't have any leveled cards right now. So I have like tweak and shit like that. So we pull in the Robin, unfortunately. So big mistake there. And we're not going to get this Super Craig killed. But I feel pretty good about our setup right here. If we can get the Gunslinger out. Kill him before. Might look like he has a lot of health, but he doesn't actually. The Heidi helping kill that Dougie. That's important. That Gunslinger's got to get out of here, though. But the extra boost. Oh, the hyperdrive coming through. The Shaman making quick work of that fast pass. And Shaman's going to get to New Kid. Not going to be stopped. We got to worry about these cocks coming. Not too worried. They're level 2. The hamsters are the bigger worry here. Well played. Well played. Well played. All right. He's got 32 seconds. Definitely he could come back from this. Maybe Bounty Hunter would be a good idea here. Yeah. Slowly stack up that slave. We're going to play the lava to slow his push. We're going to pull him in. The BHK. Okay, interesting. See what happens here. I think the Future Randy would be a good one here. 5 seconds. There's nothing he could do. That was one thing about this week. If the enemy had Future Randy and they got a quick lead on you, with freeze ray potential too, they could really stop you. Like they could really stop you. So if you went down, to an early push, and they had Future Randy, it would be hard. And I think wasn't Super Fart an option? It would be really hard to get close to New Kid. Real hard. So we got a level 5 slave. This is the Adventure Lock here. Level 5 slave in silver, mind you. Guy's ranked 7K. Slave versus the Shaman. He's got the level 3 Mintberry Crunch. Remember, we have level 2. Or level 1, I guess. But New Kid hitting that Mintberry Crunch. Not a whole lot of value there. The BHK, we're going to see if we can get enough value here. Oh, this is good. We get the Dougie out. The BHK, though, going down. Not a big deal, though. And the Dougie taking out the S-Wow. Look at this value. And now the Dougie attacking the slave. My slave, even though it's level 3, the heal is not getting broken. We go ahead and drop a freeze out there. His Dougie comes through. We're going to drop our Grand Wizard, and our Dougie gets another hit off with the Grand Wizard. I don't know why I call him Grand Wizard. The Gunslinger. It's the G in the beginning. The Gunslinger. Gunslinger worked out really well there. Made the slave actually do decent damage. Can we turn this around? It's looking pretty beneficial to us. But like we were saying, that Super Fart comes out. But the Heidi is just too smart and funny. The 143 on that Mintberry Crunch is going to let him be able to deal with the BHK. Why didn't I use the ability? I think I was just waiting for him. Oh, look at this. We use the ability, pulls his cards, stops them, and the hamsters don't get affected. The 1000 IQ play dropped both of his defenders off. And the hamsters continue to hit New Kid. Rip. What's up, Rusty? How you doing, buddy? That was some fucking next level shit there, dude. Thought of that on the fly. Never even practiced it. Let's go. Now let's not get counter pushed here. We got to be careful. Get the lava out. I don't hate that. I don't hate that. We put that there to keep the Poseidon on the lava. And then mostly to get the Dougie out there. Dougie is smacking people around. I don't think the slow did anything here. But we're going to get... Oh, he took the bar. Wait. From what? From what? Oh, Robin hit New Kid twice. And he had like a plus 80 boost from BHK. The BHK barely surviving here. Pretty brutal. The hammies come out. Interesting. We're just trying to cycle to the future Randy. Can we keep him away? The future Randy comes out perfectly. Knocks away the Dougie and the rats. The regen comes out, but the freeze keeps them all away. Incredible defense. Incredible defense. Yeah, dude, right? That guy had great levels, and I fucked him up, dude. Just outplayed. Level 3 slave. He probably saw it, and he's like, oh, this guy sucks. And then, boom! Boom! Delicious. Delicious. All right, this is pretty good. We're just going to slow play. The Robin on the SWOW, obviously not ideal, but you never know. Kind of makes that level 2 not as worthless. He got the Midberry Crunch out, with also isn't bad, but like I was saying, the Gunslinger is in there to take that hit and then get regened up, just like that. So we're going to go ahead and use the Imp, and it does pull in the Midberry Crunch. It actually wouldn't have mattered who it would have pulled in, because the exact same thing would have happened there. Gunslinger would have beaten him up. This is just to get the Dougie out there, because the Dougie is what can break the heal. We don't have to worry about Satan or anything like that. So we can stack to our heart's content. The Super Craig's going to be late because the BHK, or sorry, the Gunslinger is on the New Kid. That Dougie getting a huge... Dude, that should have been such a big hit there. Why was that such a small hit? Dougie has, what, 300 attack at level 6? And he's got 144. And Dougie can't get a hit and just do massive damage to the next one. I guess maybe it was he died before that, like the Gunslinger took the hit. I guess that makes sense. But that should have been a huge chunk to the next bar. Huge chunks. That's what she said. Huge chunks. Give me some bedtime chocolate cake. What does bedtime chocolate cake mean? Is that an innuendo? Innuendo. Rusty eating some chocolate cake before bed. Delicious. I prefer... Well, I guess it depends on the chocolate. I like a moist chocolate cake. I don't like a dry chocolate cake. We're going to go ahead and use Mintberry Crunch here, because Mintberry Crunch takes out that BHK. So it's a poor play on his part. But now, you see what he did here? Now, that Mintberry Crunch is going to hit the Poseidon. But we're going to go ahead and wait on the Mintberry Crunch until it's an actually more opportune moment. We're going to go ahead and use it there of all times. But actually chunking the slave can actually be important, because it gets them halfway quicker. And the only way we're going to break the slave here is with the either Gunslinger or with the Mintberry Crunch. But Mintberry Crunch takes out the Robin on the backside, so I wasn't really worried here, because nothing he has breaks my slave. So I was like, we can just wait for the Gunslinger and then break it with the Gunslinger. And then easy peasy. The regen here should be the play. Yep. Regen will keep everybody alive, including that cock that's taking new kid damage there. Regen is, I think, arguably Regen is the best spell for Team Wars. What spell is better for Team Wars? Other than Super Fart, to be able to fart on him like that. Like, I don't think anything's better. Hyperdrive, you could maybe make an argument for that, but the way I see it, Hyperdrive wins you a bar, Regen wins you 3. Especially since new kid, and look at this, you can cycle back to Regen depending in the game, and you can Regen the same push. If you have, you know, if I had 2 more units out, I would cycle right to Regen every time, right? So I don't think there's any spell better than Regen. I'm gonna powwow some Skittles. All right, we got Paladin, not Paladin. Poseidon, Poseidon, similar. We have pretty much the same push out here, but I'm getting my Mintberry Crunch out first. I get an extra 179 on each side. This is gonna be pretty good. That lava is only gonna impact the Super Craig, and the Mintberry Crunch gets a very valuable hit there. The Poseidon comes out. Shouldn't have even used that ability, actually. That's kind of a waste. I was hoping to slow what else he puts out, which ended up being the hamsters. But the new kid not going to be able to deal with that Poseidon. Even with the help of the slave, the Regen overtakes it. We're going to go ahead and use the Mintberry Crunch there to take out the Robin. Slave is going to get broken up, but we pull the slave away. We know that we wouldn't have been able to deal with him, so we bring him out of the picture. Our slave is going to eat it up now. Now either BHK dies or the slave heal dies. BHK is the one that takes out. We save a little time here because the hamsters need to get 2-shot, and then new kid takes the slave heal out for us. Way to go. Very well played there. Very well played. Beep, 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 beep. Nice regen there. That slave was alive forever. Now those cocks will spawn right on new kid. If the gunslinger was used right, we could have had a huge amount of damage there, but gunslinger was a little slow. But we still have massive damage, and he leaves at the end trying to fuck me over. But not today. All right, we got Canada guys, more like Canada Dry. You know what I'm saying? All right. Super Craig or Poseidon in the corner. Poseidon's usually better because even if they play bottom side, his slow could be potentially impactful. Super Craig is going to be probably the next play, or potentially Slave. See how we stagger them slightly. Just makes it a little bit harder for Mintberry Crunch to target. We don't have anything to really counter here, so we're just going to play these on the bottom side. We're going to pull in this BHK because he kind of put a lot of energy into that. And this ends up working out really well. We get 3 stacks on the Mintberry Crunch, which can be very good. This Dougie is not going to be scary. The regen comes out. Is the regen going to keep the Poseidon alive? Yes, it is. The lava, not good enough. Regen is just the best one, dude. Yeah, Canada Dry is ginger ale, I believe. Like, it's the best spell, dude. Nothing beats it. Not even, like, Lightning Bolt isn't even as good. Super Craig, that's why Super Craig was better right there. Super Craig's got the ability to hit New Kid if he's targeting something else. Which when Super Craig kills New Kid in like 3 hits, that can be really impactful. So although Heidi's good to have that 2-cost, you already had the 2-cost hamsters. You know, you had some cheap cards in the Poseidon in general, so the Poseidon Super Craig works out really well here. You don't need that 2-drop when you have the hamsters if you need something like that. Now we're just slow playing the S-WoW. Worst situation for him would be to use the ability and get him even more on my side. We're going to slow play even more here. The Dougie can't possibly have wanted to go over there. He had to have wanted the Dougie on the bottom side. We're not worrying about that Dougie because Dougie's going to come through to the bottom. Now Dougie's dead to the New Kid. I can't tell. Yeah, Dougie's dead. The regen comes through. Super Craig. See, this is kind of the play. If they do imp tweak your Mintberry Crunch, use the regen and you're probably going to win. Mintberry Crunch, Robin tweak. Yeah, I'm torn because like it was good, but at the same time, a couple other people got that off on me, and it wasn't that hard to deal with them this week because of the imp, because of some other things, and using regen on the Mintberry Crunch was almost just as effective as using the regen was almost just as effective as, you know, having that extra Robin health. And when Mintberry Crunch just kills the Robin, you use 3 just to heal Mintberry Crunch might still die. The amount of damage that Mintberry Crunch's ability does is like all the health that Mintberry Crunch gets, so like you can still lose that. So I probably would have done very well with the Robin, but I can see how it's a little bit easier to misplay the Robin into instant death. So I could see that play. I could see either choice there being fine. So the new kid's going to get massive damage here, as well as the SWOW, which is going to help deal with this. And then the Cox come through. That extra time that the Gunslinger actually lasts now is very impactful. You'd be very surprised how long that actually does last. It's like, it's only a few seconds, but like in the game, a few seconds is a long time. So if you can get 2 or 3 attacks with that boost, and even do some movement if you need to get away. I played the Super Craig a little close there. I didn't have to. That was probably a mistake. You tried to... Yeah, BHK with Robin is just going to get Mintberry crunched for sure. I think BHK was definitely not the choice. Robin versus Imp tweak. Or no, Robin... What was Robin versus? Was it Robin Imp? Can't remember. But yeah, Robin versus whoever it was... I could see it either or. Get that regen out there. We have the Imp ready to pull away that guy. So even if that was a better played classy, or not classy, SWOW, we would have pulled him away. All right, we got mail-in Vegeta here. Mintberry Crunch level 3 on the Moody, but it doesn't matter. Pretty decent counter here. Randy can slow play and get the Cox in front of him, so he's a pretty good lead against a fighter, or a tank, really. Gunslinger coming in the back, which is going to help the Cox be impactful. The Poseidon slow here was pretty much what he had to do. Otherwise, he wasn't going to get any value there. We don't have to use the Gunslinger here. There's no real point to it. I would say wait for the next combination of Cox. So now we get the Cox out there. We make sure the Cox are next to him before we use it. Now hopefully the Cox will break it. Yes, the heel is broken. And the Cock hit Randy once. No, it doesn't look like he did. And all of those Cocks get dealt with. No, only 2 of them. Oh, it looks like that one Cock did hit the Randy with that boost. Or no, maybe that was the ability. So we're going to use the Disarray. We're going to end up just getting used as a basic normal Dougie right there, actually. The regen comes through and gets Mintberry Crunch fully healed. Yeah, regen is just so good, man. Like, regen's so good. Regen's so good. We use the the Imp here. I mean, just absolutely manhandled this poor fool. Was it Robin versus BHK? Was that? No, because you could Robin BHK. Oh, it was Robin versus Amazingly Randy, I think. I think that's what it was. Because it was BHK versus Gunslinger. Right? I think it was BHK Gunslinger, Robin, Randy. I think that's what it was. Because I know I was thinking, like, you definitely, if you're going to go Gunslinger, you have to go Randy because the Gunslinger with the Cox is going to be super impactful. If you don't go the Randy and you go BHK, then I didn't think the BHK would have been, or sorry, the Gunslinger would have been the right choice there. So yeah, that must have been the combo. Good Robin there on the fast pass, actually. But the problem is, I don't think the fast pass breaks the slave. Yeah, no, it doesn't. So I can just sit here once I saw that the fast pass doesn't break the slave, I just sat there and was like, well, there's nothing he can really do. So a good counter to the Randy, if they reset like that, is to use the Gunslinger. Works out very well. Now we're just resetting our push. If you use the Randy poorly, you definitely will lose. So I can see how not wanting to run the Randy to risk the chance that that does happen. The Gunslinger just completely destroyed the push there. I mean, Gunslinger was definitely the choice, for sure. Like, without a doubt. Gunslinger was just so good. It might have been Gunslinger Robin, BHK Randy. That might have been what it was. And that would make sense. All right. But yeah, as somebody said earlier, it kind of came down to who gets their Mintberry Crunch out. And not necessarily who gets it out, but who gets it out in a way where it's like actually impactful. You saw it be you saw when I was playing earlier, I used Mintberry Crunch on fast. It was Mosquito Swarm and Stan the Great, or I can't remember who the fuck it was. It was Mosquito and then another fighter, I think. And I was about to say, I was like, see, this is a good push because I just got like 600 extra health out of nowhere with that play. And Mintberry Crunch is just a good card. So that's like hard to deal with, right? But he had the Satan in his hand, so he was able to just blow me up. So in Team Wars, when you know there's no Satan, there's no Inkin, there's no AoE at all, really, I can stack my lava technically, I suppose, but when it's fucking aerial units, it doesn't really matter. I can stack my units and then get incredible value from the Mintberry Crunch, getting 179 extra health on Poseidon, Super Craig, which is actually pretty damn impactful. A couple Cox maybe, Randy, maybe you get it on Gunslinger or something. Like, just a lot of value that you can get there with that extra heal. And it's not a lot, 100 some, but if you get that 100 some on like, a couple Cox, all of a sudden it takes 2-3 hits to kill them, depending on what it is. All of a sudden New Kid takes a long time to kill them. All of a sudden regen is regenning them back that 200 health that they just got killed. So it's like almost doubling their health with the regen on top of what you just got. So it's like an incredible combination there for kind of free, because you know that when you play your Mintberry Crunch, he's not gonna just die immediately. There was nothing in the deck, and even if you imped him, you could potentially future Randy him on your deck, or you could use regen, and regen keeps him alive long enough to probably use the ability. The way the ability works, it kind of hits everybody right around Mintberry Crunch and then goes in whatever direction. It's kind of like a line around him and then it goes out, similar to how Inkin used to hit New Kid, it hit behind. So now when you use an ability and you're sending it to the upper left, if the guy's right under you, they're still going to get hit. So that imp is probably going to get hit by your ability no matter what happens. And it just works. It was just a good deck, honestly. I felt like it was... I felt like the Future Randy was a lot of fun, though, on the Adventure Lock. And I feel like the only reason I was able to win those matches was because of Future Randy. Because I was able to get that push and then defend. I wasn't going to be able to defend with the cards that I had. Because they were like... I had like level 1 Mintberry Crunch, Like, it's just not good enough. That's the biggest threat usually with Adventure Lock. You kind of have to decide, am I gonna blow my load and play all my high level cards and get the bar, and then maybe potentially lose, potentially lose to the counter push because all your lesser cards are left? Or do you try to support the higher level cards with the lower level cards and then have some higher level cards available if if you have to defend? Drunken practices, we try to get double Robin tweaks. Was hard to get him cycled. Yeah, what you'd have to do is Robin would have to go out, Mintberry Crunch would have to immediately kill your Robin after Mintberry comes out, and then you would have to have had hamsters in your deck. Maybe, I think Heidi would have had to have been in your deck probably to pull that off. And then it really depends on, if you had Future Randy, it probably wouldn't have been hard because you could have just reset and in that time probably cycled back. But SWOW was probably what you had. That would have been very difficult. There's a lot of 3 costs, 4 costs, so yeah, it's tough to cycle fully through. Because even, you're either going to take the bar or die before that time. All right, so let's look at the deck for next week. We have a lot of shenanigans going on. I like to take a gander first to see what type of removal there might be. Super Fart and Fireball, I suppose, are the only two. All right, so Dog Poo versus Classy. Right off the bat, I'm kind of digging the Classy. But when I see that DSR, when I see the towers, when I see the big tanks, I don't think Classy's going to be the choice. I think Dog Poo's going to be needed, just that 3 cost, deals with the butters. If you play it right, it can deal with the Dougie. When you have Dougie coming in, so here's your new kid. If you have Dougie coming in from this side and Dougie's going to come in this side, if you play Dog Poo about right here, Dog Poo will stop, target the Dougie, follow through on his attack. Dougie will be next to new kid, but Dog Poo's attack will hit, and he normally has enough attack to kill the Dougie, so that can work. The extra big damage can potentially kill a Doggo before he turns around. And then you can obviously put him on Bar Brady or Coon or Awesemo or the tower tank, the castle defender. And then just does good damage. So I like the Dog Poo. Cheaper too. There's already going to be 2 5 costs. So Deckhand is going to be your choice here. Astro's just not good. You can't step shit with him. Astro versus Deckhand. Deckhand beats the shit out of Astro. And there's nothing, getting a speed boost is out of your control. You could speed boost, Bar Brady and it not really be impactful. What's up, LaForce? Robin Classy could be good. Yeah. But if I'm going to Robin, I'm probably going to Robin. Honestly, this week, you probably have to go Fireball for the Kite, which makes Kite not the choice. BHK is the choice then, but Robin on BHK is still Fireball target. So Robin's really only target, I would say, would be Shield Maiden. Robin on Shield Maiden in Team Wars, that's going to be hard to kill her. I would say Robin on Shield Maiden or the Som, depending on the situation. But yeah, Deckhand could heal. I think the biggest thing would be Deckhand heal the Shield Maiden that got the Robin, so it's you get a lot of heal there, right? Deckhand could heal the tank. Deckhand could heal the Som or something like that. So definitely just an important card there, I think, for sure. Yeah, Robin Shield Maiden is going to be the choice. If Sparky, if you knew Sparky was even level for everybody, this is actually kind of an interesting kind of an interesting choice here, because Sparky might be the better choice, because Sparky can boost the Beybes, the Robin, like all these units that are kind of low attack. All of a sudden they're doing an extra 50 damage with the Sparky, so that could be very impactful. And then, you know, keeping them alive, New Kid Blast doesn't kill them, puts them in better position to survive. You could use the Robin on the Sparky, keep them alive even longer. But Shield Maiden level 5 or 4, which most people will have in Legend, and then even level 3, she's incredibly good. Just incredibly good. And you couple that with the Robin, because Robin is definitely the choice for this one. Outlaw sucks donkey dick. I think Shield Maiden's going to win you plenty of games. And then Osimo versus Kun. Osimo's kind of your de facto choice. Kun is just not good without getting called in from Call Girl. And then the only time Kun would be good is if you have, like, you know, hamsters, mosquito, stuff like that. But you have literally just the Kite to pair with him, so that's just not good. So, terrible choice, actually. Super Fart versus the low-level Tower. That's actually really interesting. Super Fart does have the ability to counter the Dougies if you play it right. You can use the Super Fart right after the Dougies stop charging and before they get their attack off, and their attack won't go off, and then they'll walk to New Kid. So that could be important. The Tower, lower level, they just made it last less long. I think the Stand of Many Moons advantage will be good enough, LaForce. But I think in this week, just general level advantage will be impactful. Like if you just generally have level 6s and 7s in the rares and the commons, you'll do better. I think Super Fart is probably the choice. There's just a couple things that it might kill. There's actually a couple combinations where Som probably doesn't kill him. Like, Som's half damage probably doesn't kill BHK, but Som half damage with Super Fart probably does. So I would say Super Fart's probably the choice. Also, 2 costs. The deck is pretty heavy. 2 costs just to get there and cycle could be potentially good. Use it against the Dougie, cycle to something, potentially. The Tower, I don't think it's going to be good enough. But, I mean, that could be tested. You could test that one fairly easily because it's going to be lower level. But I just think when it comes to a level 5 Shield Maiden coming at you, a level 3 or 4 Arrow Tower is not going to help. So I think it's kind of a waste of 3 energy. I think the Super Fart, which is typically a dead card anyway, I think it's better. People are going to misplay the Tower and not get good value. The Dougies, I think it's pretty obvious that either Dwarf King or not Dwarf King, the Engineer Dougie or the Power Fist Dougie are the 2 best Dougies. Barrel Dougie isn't bad because he does that extra first hit, and you're usually only going to get 1 hit off, but the problem is it's a little slower too, so he could potentially not get it off at all. So which Dougie is that? I can't tell. That's the Power Fist Dougie? No, that's the Engineer Dougie. No, that's Fantasy Dougie, right? Yeah. So that's the one that'll get extra damage on hit. Kite versus BHK. That's Engineer. Oh yeah, it's Dwarf Engineer. You're right. Yeah, I'm stupid. That's the fantasy one. I think running Kite gives Fireball too much value. Like way too much value. BHK survives the Som, so it's not terrible. Could potentially boost like the Beybes, which could be really impactful. Could potentially boost a Robin boosted Shield Maiden Shield Maiden Wendy, which could be really good. So I think the BHK is going to be good. You know, if they BHK, if they lightning bolt or if they fireball your BHK, you're probably in good shape, honestly. So, but the Kite just gives the fireball too much value, and by the nature of the card, you're going to play it in fireball range of other cards, so you're going to give it way too much value. Belf is the choice here, just always. Getting the extra health and keeping her alive is much more impactful than the kind of one chance of getting an attack boost with Robo. But I will say, if you get Robo Bebe boosted with a BHK boost, you could tear through some shit too. But, you know, with something like Barbrady that I could play right next to Robo Bebe, and even if Robo Bebe kills the Barbrady, he's still going to blow up and kill her. So I don't think Robo is ever really going to be the choice. Unless it's fucking Kevin or something. Somebody low level next to him, it's just not gonna be the choice. Sam versus DSR. Let's go back to that one. I think that might be the biggest question. I think Barbrady's the easiest choice. If it's max level 5 dog poo. Well, let's look that up quick. So if we have max level 5 dog poo. So dog poo, and then what are we looking at? Engineer Dougie. So dog poo has, let's say max 5, right? 281 attack. 281 attack. If you look at the Dougie at, you said 7? So at level 7, Engineer has 401 health. At max 6, it's 376. At base 6, it's 349. So if you add new kid damage in there, which is... Geez, not even 100. It's close. I think base... It would depend on... If your Dougie is base 6, or your dog poo is base 6, that helps a bit. But if their Dougie is base 6, I think you'll be fine. If it's max 6, it'll be really close. If it's 7, I don't think it'll be enough. You'd have to have one other thing hitting it. Like Astro hitting it, or Deckhand hitting it, or New Kid just wouldn't be enough by itself. But just like a Bebe alive hitting it, like maybe a tank hitting it. So I mean, if it was butt naked, nothing else was hitting it, I think it would get through, but it would only get through for one hit probably, because, well, no, the dog poo wouldn't be next to him. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, but but Classy absolutely does not stop the Dougie. If you don't have dog poo, you have nothing. You have Deckhand. You have Deckhand and Super Fart. Like, you need the dog poo to help with that. Because worst case scenario, you use dog poo and Deckhand, and you get 6 energy out there, but then, you know, Deckhand could heal dog poo, you know? But I think the Classy doesn't do in my mind, the Classy doesn't do anything. What does the Classy do? Maybe beats up on a tank. Maybe if she doesn't get fucking DSR'd or fireballed immediately after she gets her ability, she could get fireballed and she has like no health. On top of that, BHK could be blasting her the whole time. Fireball for Dougie. I mean, I don't like that play. If you fireball my Dougie, then I have free reign to play BHK in Robin. I could just build Belf. I can just build an unstoppable push behind Osimo, Barbrady. Like I am no. If you fireball my fucking Dougie, I win the match after that in my head. You lose an energy for one, and now you lose the one thing that can stop me from building an unstoppable push. The one thing that threatens my ability to build a very difficult push, which would include BHK plus Belf plus Robin on Shield Maiden, would probably be all you'd need. I mean, that's tough. I do not like the fireball on Dougie. Like, last ditch effort. I'd rather give up the bar. I'd rather give up the bar and counter than use the fireball on him. Unless there's 30 seconds left, I wouldn't fireball the Dougie. There's just Dougie's just way easier to deal with than people think. Like, he's just not hard. Most people don't play him well. Most of the time, you're gonna have something out there that's gonna be able to hit him. And most of the time, if they do take the bar, they're 4 energy down, and you just take a bar. Especially with the cards that we have this week. I think Fireball is obviously the choice. I don't think we have to talk about that one really. The tower is like okay, but I don't think it's impactful enough. Especially when you look at the decks, because like if you play tower, I can just slow play with Osimo or Barbrady, and it's not gonna hurt me that much. It's not gonna bug me that much. And potentially, like, because they're gonna have the tower too, if you play tower, I could just play tower. So that kind of nullifies the ability. Wonder if placed right, you can get Deckhand Butters to attack twice. Maybe if you play him. I think he's coming here. He'll stop here. If you play Deckhand here, it gets the attack. I think Deckhand would have to move. You can't play him in a place where he wouldn't have to move a little bit, and that movement time would probably be enough for Dougie to attack. You'd get him on the second one though. Like, he would definitely not get 2 off. And when it's not the freeze Dougie, that's not as big of a deal. The freeze Dougie is much harder to deal with, in my opinion. Especially since there's no shield. I mean, if you fucking kite, if you try to kite Dougie, that's just asking for a fucking fireball, right? So like I could see somebody maybe trying to do that, but that's so, like, even like I would say if you have Sam instead of DSR, then while Sam is out with his ability, Dougie can't get played. Because if you play Dougie, Sam's just going to wipe him pretty much. And then the dog poo does kill him. The deckhand does kill him. DSR helps with Classy potentially, Osimo, Barbrady, potentially whatever the Scuzzlebutt boosts or Scuzzlebutt himself. This is a hard choice, honestly, because Sam deals with a lot. Sam double shots all the backline. Sam deals with the BHK and the kite a little bit, but at the same time, everything that Sam deals with, the fireball is kind of meant to be there for. But that DSR, I mean, inevitably they're going to have 2 tanks together, because inevitably you're gonna have well, yeah, no, that's true. But no, inevitably you're gonna have the tower, the castle defender walking with a group of something else, and it's probably gonna be a tank. So like, I'm torn. Like, DSR can do a lot of damage, but Sam in a week where there's like no removal can also do a lot of damage. Like, more damage than DSR can do, because he could potentially keep getting it out over and over again. If you couple that with a good Robin tweak, yeah, dude, if Cock Magic was an option, that'd be a real dick move. Trying to think, what would I prefer? Yeah, honestly, that's probably the best way to do a Dougie. Shield Maiden plus Super Fart. The Dougie comes through, you play Shield Maiden behind the Dougie, Shield Maiden hits him once, you use Super Fart, it'll knock Dougie back a little bit, freeze him a little bit because it'll knock into the Shield Maiden. It won't knock him back, it'll knock him like into the Shield Maiden. And then Shield Maiden, if he doesn't die from the Super Fart directly, which I think he probably will, Shield Maiden will hit him again. If he went DSR, people would try to use DSR on Dougie and miss that. Yeah, that's a misplay counter for sure. And like, here's an example. If somebody leads Dougie, I can play Sam and Shield Maiden. They both hit him once, and now I have Sam and Shield Maiden headed towards my new kid. Or headed towards his new kid, excuse me. That's not a bad deal. That's not a bad deal. Isn't there still the strat to fart late and make Dougie stop rushing too? Yeah, but that timing is so... That timing is so sketch, man. Like, hey Hassan, what's up, buddy? Like, that is just... That's hard. It's hard, man. And if your internet connection's not right, if your reaction time's a little off one time, then you truly did waste that 2 energy, really. Well, maybe you didn't waste it because the Dougie's probably dead anyway, but you lost the bar and you spent energy to deal with it. I think it's possible to do that for sure, like without a doubt. But that takes a lot of practice, and to trust 50 people in 150 matches to do that correctly, when the other potential is just like play fucking Shield Maiden in the direct path of Dougie, so he has to go around her. And then if there's just one other, you could play a range card after that. And then when the Dougie's dead, you have a perfectly set up push. The biggest thing, and this is true for when you're playing against cows too. The biggest thing is to just not panic and not overreact and not spend too much energy, not spend energy and get out of position, because the biggest mistake people make are you play cows and they play 7 energy to deal with the cows. They still basically lose the bar, and then all of a sudden they have just a terrible push. Just like not a good setup push. You know, you have a range card out front, you have an assassin in the back, you have a fighter in the middle. You know what I mean? Like you aren't set up right because you just panic played everything like, oh, I got to play these cards to deal with cows. So usually when the cows come out, I'm not worried about dealing with the cows. I've kind of submitted like I'm probably going to lose this bar, but I'm going to get a bar back because he's 5 energy down. And unless it's the last minute where you have that extra boost, if you're 5 energy down and I didn't really do much, I didn't really spend much to kill the cows. Really, you're just trying to make it so they don't take 2 bars. You play your range behind them, whatever. You get that push build. So for the Dougie, if you don't think you can deal with the Dougie, just play your tank. Just play a range behind New Kid. Just limit it to 1 bar and then just start your counter. Because if you don't know for sure that you're going to be able to deal with this Dougie, if you spend 6 energy to deal with the Dougie and you don't, and they still take a bar, and all of a sudden you're down a bar and down 6 energy with a push headed into their New Kid that they have full control over, not ideal. Not ideal. So the Dougie... I don't think the Dougie is what I'm worried about this week. What I'm worried about this week is Shield Maiden Wendy getting massive fucking value with the Robin tweak. And I'm worried about... I think I'm worried about Stand Mini Moons getting too much value, so I think he's the right choice. There's nothing that really stops him. You could Fireball him, I guess, but he has to take quite a bit of damage first. You could counterplay with your Bar Brady or something like that, but if I just hold my Stand of Many Moons, like, you can't play a card. Like, if I just dealt with an Osimo push, I know you maybe only have Bar Brady. I play Som topside, you counter with Bar Brady topside. I could play the rest of my deck bottom side, and there's like, you wouldn't be able to play it. If I played my Shield Maiden bottom, then at that point, you counter with your Shield Maiden, I win that fight because my Shield Maiden's going to be slightly extra damage versus yours because of the Sound Blast from a distance, right? If you play Kite or BHK, they're basically dead. If you play the one of the Beybes, they're dead. If you play Dougie, they're dead. If you play Tweak or if you play one of the Tweaks, they're dead. You could play the Towers, I guess, kind of defend the Som a little bit to an extent. But I think like the value that a Som could get is much more impactful, because if I know a DSR is coming, if I know the DSR is coming, just like Satan, just like Cock Magic, if I know the DSR is coming, I'm not going to give you a lot of DSR value. I'm not going to play Bar Brady and Osimo right next to each other. I'm not going to play Som right next to Shield Maiden, right next to Classy. You know what I mean? I'm just not going to do that. So you're not going to get an incredible amount of DSR value. But when I play Som, you can't really prevent me from getting at least some value. It might not be great value, but if I play Som in the right moment, if I play Som on a naked board, yeah, you can counter with Osimo, you can counter with one of the Towers, you know, whatever. But if I play Som behind my Osimo, behind my Bar Brady, when you have your push with BHK and stuff like that, you know, at half court, all of a sudden you can't stop my Som, and I can take you out. And something also that you could think about, if you're worried about the Som, one of the only things that you could deal with him with from a distance without actually getting damage on him would be Som Blast plus Fireball, which I think should be enough to kill him. If it's level 6 Fireball, it's 711 damage or something like that. Because it's 71 damage to new kids, so it's like 715 or something like that. I think it's 711 for some. It's 711 for some reason. I want to say that. So if you have that much damage to Som, who has a little bit over Lightning Bolt damage, which is a little bit over 1,000. So you do 700, and then Som does half damage. Ooh, it might not. It might not. It might depend on the Som level. That's something you'd probably have to look at the numbers. You'd have to look at the numbers on SPPD Replay and figure out, does Fireball plus Som kill Som? And at what levels does that happen? Because that's an important interaction. If you can Som Fireball their Som, and then like let's say you hit their Som and something else with the Fireball, that's worth it. In my opinion, at that point, I think that's worth it, because you have your Som out at that point. So the stuff that Fireball could be good against, your Som's going to potentially deal with it. 9x4, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look that up. But would the DSR be useful? Yeah, but like if you DSR a group and then that group just so one of the people in that group gets Robin tweaked, that kind of counters the DSR a little bit. If you DSR my Osimo and I Robin tweak the Osimo after he takes a little bit of damage, that really counters that DSR. But I'm not sure if it's enough. God, that's a tough choice. I think either one is fine. Kind of just changes your mindset a little bit. If you're running DSR, you kind of want to slow play it, wait it out, you know, get their shit on your side and then bust it up and then counter. If you're playing Som, you want to maybe be a little bit more aggressive, get your tanks boosted, or get your tanks out, get your push built, and once they start laying energy to defend that push, then you put Som out and you deal with that push. I also think Bar Brady Som, Bar Brady's going to be hitting stuff, so there's going to be potential where Bar Brady has already hit something and then Som could kill it, or Som has already hit it and then Bar Brady could kill it with his blast. So Bar Brady's going to be a big deal when it comes to dealing with Belf, Robin, the back line. And it's something important to know when you're playing Bar Brady is you want them, after Bar Brady dies, you want them to walk into the Bar Brady blast, especially the range cards. So you want to make sure that when you play the Bar Brady, you don't really support him that much with things right next to him. The best way to play it is play Bar Brady first. He'll probably get met at about half court. When you're half court, you defend Bar Brady with range cards. BHK, whatever it might be, Belf, whatever. Then when Bar Brady's dead, they make their way towards your range cards to get into range of them. In that time, Bar Brady explodes, damages them all. If there is still a push left that you need to deal with, then you play another tank, and then they're supporting your backline. But at that point, potentially, you could just let the backline... Like, if only the tank is left, potentially, your 2 range cards might be able to deal with him as he's waddling towards you, whatever the ability might be, or the card might be, whatever. So I think that I'm trying to get my gain just slightly. If I move it just this tiny little bit, I feel like it gets too much. But yeah, I think there's a lot of potential for Som to be good and DSR to be good. So that's kind of like the last week, the SWOW versus Future Randy choice. I had a few games where I had either or, and I thought they were useful in their own situations, and I didn't think. I know SWOW definitely saved me in a couple games. You saw that that taunt ability came in incredibly clutch to pull the Dougie away from New Kid. But then you saw Future Randy protect my bar on the Adventure Lock a couple times too. So it just kind of depends. I think an interesting week would be a week where there's Dougies and Future Randy, to see what kind of happens if you play your Dougie and then they Future Randy, and then you play your Dougie and then they Future Randy. So then you just have Dougies running at each other in just weird positions because nobody chose where to put them. So then you're gonna be trying to play your cards to stop the Dougie. It would be a lot of fun. Randy's so good and fun to play. Yeah, he's a really cool card. It's really interesting because it's almost like they listened to this fucking update, because I had theory crafted a card that is almost identical to Randy. It's different in practice, but the effect is basically the same. What I kind of thought was, and actually Randy's a better effect probably because it heals and impacts separately. And the way that I kind of said it was kind of the same way, because with Randy you can pick, if you play Randy behind your New Kid, it'll only, you could potentially only reset your units, and their units are walking into you, which I think is the best choice of that, because if you reset a bunch of their units, they're going to be able to reset a push just as much as you can, right? So it's better to get your units in position, their units out of position. But what my idea was going to be actually for the Moses card. So for Moses, it could be a spell, or it could be an actual card that you play that floats there, whatever it might be. But for Moses, it would be 2 different things. You could play it on your side, and if you play it on your side, it will part the Red Sea, basically. It'll be like a wave. It'll have a wave at the middle, and if you play it on your side, it pushes you back. So it takes everything on your side, or all your units, and pushes them back to your side, and it takes all their units and pushes it back to their side. And then if you play it on the opposite side, where if you play it on the enemy side, it actually kind of acts more like it acts more like Imp Tweak at that point, because what it'll do is it'll take it'll take the outsides and it'll be like the waves crashing in. So the outsides will then crash in, and everybody on this side of my new kid goes to the middle, and every side on their side of their new kid goes to the middle. So if they have Drow and Mecha in the back line, you could use that ability, and they would both get smashed to the middle, and all of a sudden you have a fight at the middle. Would that be terrible? Yes. Would it be great? Yes. But that would have to be like a 7-cost card probably. But with Randy, it's a little bit more nuanced. There's the heal, there's the stun involved, which you saw in my Team Wars game actually ended up working out really well with those hamsters, where you put the hamsters out, anything they defend, you can knock away with Future Randy, and the hamsters don't get impacted by it. It's really smart. But you could have that kind of the same concept, but maybe it's a spell, maybe it's a unit, I don't know. But I just thought that something that like moves and repositions stuff, I thought would be really cool, because if you could, one of the biggest problems in this game is the fact that like you can put Call Girl behind New Kid and you can't do anything to her unless you have 3 spells: Fireball, Lightning Bolt, Transmog, Unholy, I guess. So 4 spells. Cock Magic, I guess, 2 technically. But yeah, there's nothing that really equal value reaches back there. So now with Imp, you can kind of impact that. With Future Randy, you can kind of impact that, because you could potentially push your push back, keep their push where they are, and then their push meets you, ends up working out. So I don't hate it. It's like they stole my idea, but nothing. I think that's good. Like, it's good to see ideas that you had come to fruition. I had something similar to Kevin. It wasn't the same concept, but the idea was it does bonus to a frozen unit. What I had was actually like killed the unit. It like, if you froze it, it shattered them. But that was a different type. That was I think it was an assassin. What I was thinking about, because I was thinking like, what if you could have somebody like, I was thinking like an assassin, like if it hits a unit 3 times, the unit dies. You know what I mean? Maybe the assassin attacks quite slowly for an assassin. Like in comparison to every other assassin, it attacks god awfully slow. It has low health. You can't assassin step with it. It's just like, in all general practices, it's terrible. But if you get it on Zen and it hits Zen 3 times, it's dead. If you get it on Manbear Pig and Manbear Pig's hitting Zen, and you use this guy on the backside and you hit Manbear Pig 3 times, Manbear Pig's dead. So Kevin kind of does a similar thing to that, where it's like an on-hit effect boosted by freeze, which I think is cool. I like that. I think there should be a burn, like something like a damage over time burn, similar to poison, except like when you're burnt, maybe it like lowers your attack too or something. Kind of similar to Pokemon's burn. Maybe there's some extra element to it. I'd love to see a confuse, similar to mind control, but it's like a confuse where they don't know, like they'll walk around randomly or something like that, or they won't be able to use their charge or something like that. I don't know. I'd like an ability that's not like Mayor, because Mayor just like shuts off the charges and then resets them, and then eventually they come back. I think it'd be interesting to have a card that just, while the card is out, no charged ability can be used. They're still there, they're still charged, and they still charge up from 0 to full. So when that unit dies, you could immediately use all of your stuff. But if you had one unit that, as long as it was out there, you couldn't use charge abilities, I think that would be kind of cool. Kind of similar to Youth Pastor, where it's not necessarily while he's out there, but for 30 seconds after you play him, you can't use a spell. It'd be kind of a similar idea. But I think that would be kind of, I think cards that have like sort of a field effect, I think more of that should be out there, and something that would impact both sides too. You know, imagine if World War Doe has a card called Nightmare or something like that, where it's quite cheap actually, and it actually just makes it nighttime on the map, and that makes it so that anybody any range character has lower range. So they have, instead of having, 2 range, they have 1 or whatever it might be. So all range cards now have to walk up to their thing. So that'd be interesting to have something where it's like it completely nullifies something, but it does it for both people. Like I've always thought Youth Pastor should be for both people. Like if I use Youth Pastor, I shouldn't be able to then remove the person that they can play, because like that's the only counter they have right now is to play a unit, because they can't play a fucking spell. I took that away from them. So if Youth Pastor Craig hits both of us, it's a little more fair, because now I can't just use Unholy to remove your Grand Wizard Cartman that you use to defend or whatever, you know? I think that would be interesting, because then there's stuff that you could make stronger, because like Cock Magic is kind of a good example. Cock Magic is very strong because it also impacts your own units. But the fact that you can use it when you don't have any units out, like that doesn't make any sense to me. What should really happen for Cock Magic is, in order for Cock Magic to work, like if the enemy has 3 units, I have to have 3 units, or else it doesn't work. Or it only uses like that many. So like let's say I have just Coop out, and there's two Cocks with that Coop. There's 2. So I have 2 out there, and then, well, let me think about this. Yeah, so I have 2 Coop, excuse me. I have 2 Cocks out there. And if they have 3 units, and I use Cock Magic, I turn my 2 units into Cocks. They're Cocks, so they get boosted. But then I only turn 2 of his units into Cocks, because I only turn 2 of my units into Cocks. So that means in order to use Cock Magic well, you have to have Swarm out there. So you have to pair it with Coop. You have to pair it with Randy or something like that. You have to pair it with other things. So if I play Rats up in the corner, and they have 4 units out, and I use Cock Magic, I get 4 Rats in the corner, or 4 Cocks in the corner, and then I turn 4 of their units into Cocks. At that point, you could then make Cock Magic cheaper. You could make it 5 cost. You could make it even 4 cost at that point, because you're sacrificing. At that point, it's not Cock Magic, it's Cock Sacrifice. Like for every, I mean, maybe you change it to like Animal Sacrifice or something like that, where like when you use it, you kill all your animals, or you reset your animals or whatever, but as a result, you then kill their units. I guess that's kind of, at that point, that's kind of like using City Walk Guy with pigeons. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of the same idea. I don't hate that. But, yeah, anyway, I think next week should be interesting. The deck is definitely going to be weird. There's going to be, potentially 2 towers in this deck? I mean, in a Team Wars setup, if there was 4 towers, you could potentially have all 4 towers in a game. Well, I guess if Staff counts as a tower, I guess you could have Staff. Well, I guess if does Coop count as this? No, I guess there's Castle Defender already. So if there becomes like a Mind Control Staff, and then a, what would Mystic Staff be? It would have to be like a Healing Staff, right? Or like a Healing Tower or something like that. That's the only thing I could think. maybe like there's like a healing well thing in the PvE. Maybe they could implement that in some way. Champion Strike has a card like that. You put it out and it just AoE heal. Pretty interesting. That has like characters though, so you're like healing your character, which can be pretty strong. But it also can be used as just like a little taunt. You have a card that uses like a charge ability where the first attack is really strong. You play that out, it attacks that. It's not that big of a deal. But yeah, it's definitely interesting this week. It'll be... I don't think I'm worried about the Dougie. I think there's a lot of stuff that can deal with the Dougie. I think the Super Fart helps deal with the Dougie. Freezes them, slows them. There's a lot of value that could be... There's actually a lot of value that can be gained if the enemy plays Dougie. So I would honestly say don't play your Dougie and just keep your energy to counter theirs. And, you know, play him if it's like a truly good moment. But in most cases, if it's a good moment to play Dougie, you're going to take that bar anyway. So it's up to you guys, I guess. But at the same time, you know, if you're Dougie in a push, you could fireball that push and it just could be dealt with. So I typically don't try to use Dougies when it's a Dougie week. I will typically, you know, do everything I can to avoid the Dougie and only use it if I really truly think I need to. There's been a couple times on the Adventure Lock where I had like base level Angel. I played Barrel Dougie in the corner, used Angel right as in a situation, like right where the timing was perfect, where Angel healed right after their assassin that they played to kill Dougie hit him. And New Kid would have killed the Dougie, but I healed him with the Angel and he was able to take the bar. I've done that a couple times, but otherwise, if it's not like a Drow combo, it's just like, it's too risky. There's too much stuff. And the biggest thing I think is that, just like we've said before, there's a lot of cards that they're only good if they're a surprise. Think about Satan, Cock Magic, you know, Lightning Bolt, Fireball to an extent, Arrow Storm for sure. If you know those cards are in your enemy's deck, it's going to be very difficult for them to get value from that card because you know what situations it's going to be used. Or Mind Control, for instance. If I know they have Mind Control, I'm not going to play my Psalm midline. You know, I'm not going to do stuff like that. If I know that they have Lightning Bolt, I'm not going to necessarily just play my Mecha Timmy out in the middle, you know. If I know that they have Dougie, I'm not going to play offensively. I'm going to make sure I hold energy to always have energy to deal with the Dougie. So with that in mind, against a good player, you're not going to get Dougie value against people because they're going to be waiting for it. And there's just so many ways to deal with it. Super Fart, Shield Maiden, Super Fart, Dog Poo plus Shield Maiden plus Bebe. Just like, so, like, it's technically, like, you might think like, oh yeah, but then you just used 6 energy to deal with 4 energy. Well, you just used 4 energy and I have 6 energy out on the field now. So like, I win that for sure. Like, without a doubt, I win that. But yeah, get your loot boxes in, guys, because we are done with the stream. Since it's already midnight, we are not going to continue with some South Park. We'll get some event pass stuff done, or some battle pass. I think maybe I'll grind some challenge mode on Wednesday. That'll help with the battle pass because you can really get caps quickly there, or not caps, get bars quickly there. But we'll see. But we will be back tomorrow, and we'll be grinding a bunch of the South Park events. Or I guess the event technically, but the battle pass really. We'll do it. We finish on the main account. We'll probably focus on Definitely Not Glanzer and Blue Bucket. And then when those ones are good, then we'll move on to Moody and the Adventure Lock, which are the ones that I care less about. You know, whether they get their cards is less impactful, you know, in the overall grand scheme of things. So anyway, let's see who we got to raid into. If you're watching this on YouTube and you got this far, I'd appreciate it if you subscribed. It means a lot to me. I only need 1,000 to be able to be monetized on YouTube, and we're sitting at like 920. I have all the watch time available that I need because a lot of you guys watch this video all the way through, which is great. It's like an hour and a half of watch time from a couple people. Really adds up when you only need 4,000 in like a year's time. So appreciate you guys and all your support. No matter whether it's on Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, TikTok has actually been doing pretty well, so I appreciate you guys' support. It means the world to me. I'm gonna kick you guys over to our boy Skills. He's somebody that I've rated a few times before. He plays Super Animal Royale, which is a pretty fun one. But make sure you guys check out my new videos on YouTube, the most recent videos, and I'd appreciate you guys liking them and commenting on them. It actually does a lot to get those into the requested videos of other people's queues and stuff like that. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. A lot of South Park, and we'll probably play Chorus again. Well, I don't know, actually. It'll depend on how the battle pass goes. We might just have to play straight up South Park to get these damn battle passes done. But we'll see you. Have a good one. Enjoy our boy, and we'll see you on the next one tomorrow. Bye bye.